media makers and journalists working with different CSOs and media houses to focus on the topic of technology-facilitated gender-based violence.
When you're dealing with technology-facilitated gender-based violence, it's easy to stay on the surface of issues, but the last 2 days have been provocative to say we must go beyond the issues and write the stories behind the issues.
The deconstruction of technology-facilitated gender-based violence and how we differentiate that from gender-based violence from online, the switching from online to offline, how they intertwine and the connectedness of that. So I feel the training has been so really insightful and educative.
It is very important to learn about technology-facilitated gender-based violence because it happens every single day to someone that you know or sometimes to you. We have seen statistics that show at least 2 out of 3 women in the world have gone through TFGBV. So this is something that is happening. We need to learn, we need to understand how it's happening, we need to call it out, we need to tell stories that center survivors of TFGBV so that people understand it and we can actually inspire change within the communities that we exist in.
We've had conversations in line with online gender-based violence, but in this aspect, what happens after the violence? The victim, who we call the survivor in this aspect, what happens to them? How best can they attain their justice? How best can they be helped, or how best can we help them tell their story?
These are things that we have actually not been knowing when it comes to reporting about cases of technology-facilitated gender-based violence, but then also so many things that we have been skipping to consider as advocates, as people that use storytelling as a powerful tool of change.
Who knows how to do the... I don't know how to do it.
Media is a very powerful tool. Journalists have the power to shape public opinion, to shape certain narratives, and therefore it is important that they be the ones to actually call out what is happening.
I think what the media then can do is actually humanize the stories of tech-facilitated gender-based violence, put a face to the stories that we tell, but also tell them well to be able to empower not just the audience listening, but also the survivors of experiences of tech-facilitated gender-based violence.
My final word that I would tell any influencer, any content creator that is speaking towards issues of gender-based violence, please and please and please do it from a human rights perspective.
It's nice to get into the Ugandan context and really understand the realities that exist within Uganda around TFGBV.
RNTC alumni!
Today we are here to celebrate the International Day on the Universal Access to Information, a day celebrated to reflect on the progress and the gains, challenges and opportunities since the implementation of the Access to Information laws in different parts of the country. In Kenya, 3 institutions have come together to host this event in Nairobi: Katiba Institute, the Media Council of Kenya, and the Commission on Administrative Justice.
You know, we've spoken a little bit about the importance that this day has in terms of access to information, but also just generally the rights in our constitution. The fact that access to information underpins our rights in the constitution, and that everything flows from information, that in order for there to be any accountability, we need to have information. We need to be able to know what is happening. We need to be able to demand that accountability based on the right to information.
On this International Day for Universal Access to Information, we commend the progress Kenya has made in turning this right into reality. Norway remains committed to working with Kenya through government, civil society, and communities to strengthen access to information. Together, we can ensure that citizens are not only informed, but also empowered to hold institutions accountable and to shape a transparent, inclusive future. In our engagement with the communities, a recurring issue is lack of clarity around where to address access to information requests and delayed or entirely absent responses. This reflects systemic weaknesses requiring targeted efforts to ensure this right is meaningfully upheld.
The biggest challenges we face, and I want to throw this back to journalists, is that matters critical as an International Day for Access to Information, we reduce it to personalities and what, who, and who said. I will urge that the media moves beyond the event day and the personalities who came to dissect the really practical information that is relevant to the Kenyans and all that.
We, particularly we as public officers, have been given a responsibility to actually, which we hold on behalf of the Kenyan public. And therefore, in all what we do, we must always endeavor to be accountable in whatever we do and to also let the public know. And that way we are accountable for our decisions and also are transparent.
One of the ways in which communities can use digital platforms to enhance access to information would be firstly access to that digital platform. Most of the communities do not have access to data, to phones, or even to the resources in order to access that information, for them to now go to the second step of requesting for that information. So accessibility must be across board for us to move from analog to more digital, to allow communities to participate in matters related to environmental access to justice. And this can be seen, for example, where they're called to do public participation online, and most of them report to us that they have no data. So how are they supposed to access such facilities? So if the different agencies who are running or private bodies that have to run public participation meetings or meetings with the community can think out of the box in how to include them, especially in areas where accessibility is lacking of the digital platforms.
Environmental information is foundational to the exercise of fundamental human rights. Climate shocks, water insecurity, and land use change are not distant policy abstractions. They are lived realities for Kenyans.
Access to accurate and timely climate information, including early warning systems, is particularly important for communities' adaptation and resilience to adverse effects of climate change that are characterized by cyclic droughts and floods.
Kenya, like the rest of the world, is focusing on the impacts of climate change, biodiversity loss, and environmental degradation. The government has made ambitious commitments, including the ambition to plant 15 million trees by 2032, scaling up clean energy to 100% by 2030. This day is not just a celebration, it's also our reminder of our shared commitment to the constitutional right to access to information, which is enshrined in our Constitution, Article 35, and also operationalized by the Access of Information Act of 2016. Access to information is not a privilege. It's a right that underpins accountability, transparency, participation, and good governance.
It's actually useful for us to remind ourselves of how we use the right to access to information and how we engage in that as well. Accountability can really only come if we demand it, right? I just again want to say thank you. It's really inspiring to see you all here. It's really important. We really appreciate it, together with the partners that we're doing this event here today.
It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to this important learning event dubbed Reflect, Celebrate and Sustaining Impact Beyond the Project. Through the Circular Food Systems for Rwanda initiative, we set out to demonstrate that sustainability and profitability are not opposing forces. They are, in fact, mutually reinforcing pillars of a resilient food system.
Africa's food systems are actually facing what we call a polycrisis. A polycrisis that is comprised of three elements. Huge post-harvest losses. We lose up to 40% of what we produce. And the second element of that polycrisis is the impact of climate change. Food loss and food waste, if it were a country, would come third after US and China in terms of greenhouse gas emissions globally. And the third element of that polycrisis, and one that makes me spend sleepless nights, is the moral question of how can a continent that we continuously know we have huge numbers of people, millions of people sleeping hungry, be at the same time the continent that loses so much food, and a continent that has so many youthful, young, innovative people who can be part of the solution for turning those challenges into opportunities, be left out. That's the economic development. How do we turn the polycrisis into poly opportunities?
We are here to celebrate how far Rwanda has come in championing circularity within its food system, from waste reduction and resource efficiency to innovation in product design and market access. Each SME represented here today is a statement that progress turning challenges into opportunity and providing that a circular economy is not just an environmental necessity, but a business opportunity and a driver of inclusive growth.
My name is Taifa Stephen and I'm from University of Rwanda. I'm doing my master's in circular economy model. It has been, first of all, a pleasure to participate in this learning event. And one key takeaway I've noticed is that at least, though circular economy model is a very new concept, but at least I've seen that the governments and the SMEs have started learning a lot, have started understanding what is a circular economy is and circular food system, basing on what we saw yesterday and even from testimonies we saw from different SMEs that have been participating in this learning event.
What I've been studying, seeing it as if it is a new concept. Now, after reaching on the field, I've seen that very many companies, different people are implementing it, and it is really generating income that we support in their families and also contributing to the development of the country.
Initially, to be honest, I thought I've been thinking about a circular economy as in a turning up a waste, but basing on the learning we have seen right now, I never knew that banana peels, banana waste can turn into animal feeds. Initially, I thought it was other chicken feeds. I thought initially it was something else. It can turn into manures or other compost, but I didn't know that it can turn into other chicken feed.
Mfite icyizere gihagije cyuko ibingibi nabonye umwanya wo kubikora n'intoki zanjye n'ababikora twisanisha nabo uko bisa kose nanjye ndumva mfite ibyiringiro by'uko ngomba kubishyira mu bikorwa nanjye bikama amafaranga kuko natunguwe no kubona harimo n'abantu bakuze bashobora gutekereza ni gute ibi nabikora bikama amafaranga.
The first challenge it is about the certification issues, because they need to scale up on the market, international market, to the other neighborhood farmers. The second one is also to calculate ways.
Facilitating transnational coordination, operations and exchange of best practices, arrest and prosecution of terror suspects, retraining and capacity building for police officers to enhance professionalism, service delivery and responsiveness to emerging security challenges, targeted deployment of specialized security officers based on threat mapping and risk assessment to improve responsiveness and deterrence, prioritizing the protection of main supply routes and critical corridors, including the lab set to safeguard national economic interests and community interests. That includes also, Mr. Speaker, the road between Isiolo, Modogashe, Samatar up to Mandera. We had a meeting recently with the Minister of Roads to provide greater protection to make sure that these roads are properly constructed in good time. Modernization of police equipment and infrastructure, intelligence-led and data-driven policing, strengthened inter-agency collaboration, enhanced border security operations, expansion of cyber crime investigative capacity. Question 2, elaborate the prevailing security incidents in Isiolo and Marsabit counties that require urgent security intervention and efforts to mitigate heightened tension. Honorable Speaker, the insecurity in these regions primarily characterized by intercommunal tension linked to competition for grazing land and water resources, banditry and cattle rustling, a proliferation of illicit small arms and light weapons, drugs and human trafficking, cases of missing persons, abductions and murder, cross-border criminal activities, political undertones, and occasionally heightened local tension. In response, the government has sustained security operations in the region, such as Operation Ondoa Jangili, which has done a fantastic job in dealing with drug trafficking and cases of proliferation of small arms, conducting periodic disarmament operations, like the one that is ongoing now in Isiolo, to deal with the acts of lawlessness and banditry, enhanced security deployment, including specialized units and rapid response teams, intensified multi-agency operations targeting armed criminal networks, strengthened border surveillance and intelligence coordination, increased peace building and community dialogue initiatives involving elders and local leaders. Social inclusion and communication, they have also created new and complex security threats. The digital space has become a critical domain of national security, economic stability, and public safety. Cybercrime, cyber espionage, and online radicalization continue to evolve in sophistication, scale, and impact. To address these threats, the government has strengthened the Directorate of Criminal Investigations Cybercrime Unit, enhanced forensic and digital investigation capabilities, enhanced interagency cyber threat monitoring mechanisms, partnered with telecommunication providers and financial institutions to detect and disrupt cyber fraud, increased capacity to monitor and counter online extremist propaganda and recruitment, undertaken public awareness and campaigns on cyber hygiene and digital safety. Number 4, clarify on the adequacy of staffing, training, and logistical support for security agencies and their welfare. Mr. Speaker, the government acknowledges that adequate staffing, training, and logistical support are central to effective policing. Currently, the police to citizen ratio stands at 1 to 600, which falls below the international recommended standard of 1 to 450. This shortfall is attributed to natural attrition through retirement, resignation, and other form of exit. To progressively bridge this deficit, the service has prioritized the recruitment of additional cohorts of officers upon the graduation. And upon graduation of the current intake, we shall also continue this recruitment process with the objective of reducing the police to citizens ratio. Other measures undertaken include continuous capacity building program targeting county commanders, sub-county commanders, and OCSs who are all the center of service delivery. Modernization of equipment, including analytical and surveillance tools, improvement of communication systems, enhancement of housing program and medical cover for officers to improve the morale. So far as technology and communication systems, Mr. Speaker, we are undertaking an ambitious procurement of technology for IC4 to make sure that the current command and control center we have in Nairobi is enhanced in other 6 cities across the country, including Mombasa, Nakuru, Kisumu, Nyeri, Meru, and then Nairobi and Eldoret. Mr. Speaker, as part of the coverage of the areas that we want to cover. That, Mr. Speaker, the process is ongoing, and soon, in the next 2-3 months, we should start the process of installation and operation in some of the areas. Mr. Speaker, question 5, explain the mechanism for ensuring discipline, accountability, and adherence to rule of law by security officers, oversight framework, and collaboration with IPOR. Honorable Speaker, the National Police Service is a disciplined service, and officers are expected to be professional in the execution of their mandate. The service demands the highest standards of discipline, professionalism, and accountability as officers serve as custodians and enforcers of the law. However, there have been recent incidents of unprofessionalism, unprofessional conduct by some officers that have eroded public confidence. Efforts to strengthen discipline are as follows: firm enforcement of National Police Service Act, service standing orders, and code of conduct, continuous training on ethics, human rights, and on unlawful use of force, command responsibility to ensure strict supervision and adherence to operational standards, internal disciplinary processes for officers found to have violated the regulations. And enhanced accountability include providing necessary cooperation to independent policing oversight authority and other oversight bodies carrying out independent investigation into cases implicating police officers, mandating the Internal Affairs Unit to investigate police misconduct, expeditious handling of complaints lodged by members of the public, adoption of technology in policing, including digital reporting systems and CCTV installations in police stations to improve traceability and accountability. And Mr. Speaker, we thank the members of public also who have installed CCTV cameras in their premises and other public facilities, schools, among others, because this outcry by the public on police conduct has been made possible by technology, and especially when this information was made public. On upholding the rule of law, we work to ensure compliance with constitutional provisions of law in policing, proportional and lawful use of force in public order management, protecting of human rights during arrest, detention, and investigation, and commitment to impartial enforcement of law without discrimination. The Constitution requires me, Mr. Speaker, to provide policy directions to the IG, and one of the policy directions I issued last year is on use of force, Mr. Speaker, which I issued a policy paper on when the police can be able to use force and can use their guns. Mr. Speaker, highlight the progress made on security sector reforms. That's the question 6. Highlight the progress made on security sector reforms, policy implementation, modernization of security institutions, and legislative gaps requiring parliamentary interventions to strengthen national security. Honorable Speaker, the government has been undertaking legislative and policy initiatives aimed at implementing the recommendations of the National Task Force on improving terms and conditions of police service and other reforms for members of the National Police Service, Kenya Prison Service, and the National Youth Service, and improving security services in the country. That is a task force that was established by His Excellency the President as soon as this government was established. In line with the recommendations, we have embarked on several activities. First is reviewing and developing the following acts and bills. The National Police Service Amendment Bill 2025. This bill aims to amend the National Police Service Act so as to provide for structural, functional, and operational reforms to enhance the efficiency, accountability, and professionalism of the service. The draft bill proposes to introduce comprehensive changes, including the formal establishment of the Criminal Investigation Service, pursuant to Article 247 of the Constitution, regulation of forensic service, enhancement of internal oversight, alignment of disciplinary and administrative procedures, and protection of members in service-related circumstances. The bill has been submitted to National formal draft by the Attorney General. Revisions of draft bill to incorporate stakeholders' inputs was done in November 2025. Further internal stakeholders' engagement and revised draft and consensus building is expected before the end of March this year, after which public participation will follow. Number two, the Independent Police Oversight Authority Bill 2025 proposes to amend the Independent Police Oversight Authority Act to strengthen authorities' investigative and oversight mandate, enhance its operational efficiency,